I want to thank you all for staying for this long. As a result of staying, you are now in the prize draw. So, I need all of you to look under your chair. Be careful. Don't hurt yourself. Don't cut yourself on any sharp objects. But one of you has just won a 50, maybe £100 Amazon voucher. When you find it, stand up, please. It's not over there, don't worry.
I can see two, front row, there are two.
I'm looking at you now, aren't I? Would you like to stand up?
No.
Well done.
No,
Phil made the plant earlier on. Come. If you'd like to come and see me afterwards, I'll take your details, and you've just won yourself a £100 Amazon voucher, so well done. Okay, my name is Matt Atkinson. I lead the specialist sales teams in the UK, looking after our migrations and modernization business at AWS. Delighted to be here. I'm your moderator for today. What's going to happen here is we're going to have these lovely people answering the questions that I'm going to throw at them. We've got 2 questions. We're going to moderate the conversation, and then we're going to throw the microphone cube or something like that into the audience, so wait for that, okay? Without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to well, I'm not going to introduce you to them. I'm going to ask you to introduce yourselves, and actually, would you like to give you a highlight from the conference?
So, Matt Eisengruber, I work for CDL as the head of architecture, and I think the highlight of the conference is seeing, when you run into people, the keenness they have to adopt new technology, which I think in this crazy rate of change world that we're living in now, it's absolutely amazing the energy you guys have brought today. So thank you.
Yep. Hi everyone, I'm Timofte, and I'm the VP of Engineering and Applied AI at Trustpilot. And the highlight of today, to be honest, I have quite a few, but yeah, from the keynote this morning from David, he shared so many frameworks with us, and I took so many notes. And if you don't have his book, I recommend everyone to get a copy, because really, really great. Then I really enjoyed the Luke's talk, where he's talking about modularity and the analogies that he used. And then one of the best ones I joined, which was I was just looking for a talk, was actually in the Women's Cloud, where Charlie and Becky, they were talking about finding your voice, and really enjoyed that one as well. So yeah, lots of highlights from me. Probably the best one is seeing so many people still at the end of the conference. This is impressive, and thanks for not falling asleep. I see everyone is still awake, so that's definitely a highlight.
Perfect. Shweta?
Good evening, everyone. Great. I'm Shweta Vohra. I am presently serving Booking.com as lead architect, and we have some people. We are big appreciator of AWS ComSom. Can I get some shout out from Booking.com in the room? Woo! Less of us, more are maybe eating out. Okay. About me, I'm apart from my work with Booking.com, I'm also author of 2 books. One of them is getting launched in all over the world today. So this is about dear software and AI architect, and the other one is on platform engineering. Thank you, everyone. Besides this, I'm a big person who's passionate about making complex systems simplify and helping our teams and people around working with clarity and context. Because I am an architect, I will never leave my constraints and context. So that's about me in a nutshell. Happy to chat even after this panel, anything you want to chat about. Back to you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that. Okay, I'm going to start with you, Matt, here, if that's possible. So the first question we have is around the introduction of AI and generative AI to the workplace, and how do you see that impacting developers and architects and engineers, and how can they deal with that?
Yeah, so I think, because we gave Q Developer to all our developers back in January, so we've had a 6-month, 7-month stint here of everybody kind of being enabled with that. And I think, at first, I think people tried it, and they maybe tried it, they probably got into the hype a bit and tried it on really, really difficult things, expecting a magic bullet, and then got a little bit disappointed and maybe turned away from it a bit. But then it was kind of unreal because 3 months later, after like another model would come out, some of those hard problems did actually start to get solved. So I think it's, if you've tried it, and it was a while ago, try it again, I think, and keep trying it, I think is the point. So those problems that you thought it couldn't solve yesterday, it might be able to solve tomorrow. Maybe not today, but tomorrow. Also, I see our developers moving from where they are more almost like code review. Like they're getting pushed more towards the code review of what the AI is generating instead of having to go through the thought process of generating the code themselves. So that's going to be a shift in skill set, I think. So if you haven't brushed up on your code review skills, I think that's going to become pretty paramount. Yeah.
Okay, Angela?
Yeah, so actually this morning at the keynote, there was something about introducing AI and the stress that we're seeing, especially with engineering, because you hear like probably every day there's someone saying that 100% of the code is written by AI. And something that David was sharing this morning was as leaders going from uncertainty to curiosity. So this is something that I've been trying to bring in the company, and realistically we've been doing AI for quite a bit of time, but now everyone has an opinion, especially like business leaders. They are asking like, are we using AI? And for me it's like, yes, we've been using actually for a bit of time some of these technologies. It's only now that you heard about it. So trying to bring everyone to be curious of how we're doing these, the tools that we're experimenting. So for example, at Trustpilot, we started using GitHub Copilot when they launched it, and was actually a very interesting discussion we had to have with our chief security officer, because yeah, it was something new that we're introducing, and he was like, I don't know if I want to. Now, hopefully, it's much easier. But yeah, bringing that curiosity and now looking at more tools, for example, not just engineers, but also the other functions. So we tested the Replit, one of them, which we gave it to designers and PMs to see how these other type of functions in the organizations are interacting with GenAI. But I would say the biggest challenge that I'm seeing now is actually proving the benefits of GenAI. And we know as engineers, like proving the ROI or like the productivity, it's always hard to measure. So I would say that's like the next challenge. But otherwise, we've been using this, and we saw it earlier from Matthew. It's like most of the solutions of like most of the problems that the businesses have, you don't need an agent. But now, because everyone knows about the possibilities, they think agent is the solution. So yeah, it's all about education and bringing that curiosity in the company.
Great. Shweta?
Great. I heard someone saying yesterday, AI accessibility is not AI ability, which is so true. What this means is, our organizations have done a good job in terms of making AI tools accessible to us in different forms, different companies, different tools. All that access has been given to us. And good thing which has happened in this year is we all have learned to make friends with those tools for our individual productivity. However, that is AI accessibility. However, beyond going from that point to making people AI able to really use it in their work, day-to-day work which they are doing for the company. So that's the difference where we have to reach to now. And AI and Gen AI, I'm a person who's super excited about it because have seen all those waves where we have struggled from even someday this oops when came out, object-oriented, it was complex. Many people said that, why so much of abstraction? Then we came up with JVMs and I mean, people said how things would be happening in browser. It's not possible, but everything is happening in browser these days. We are in next stage of things. So on the points which she also mentioned that yes, our ecosystem has to be made ready. That's what I meant by AI ability. We have to reach to that stage now.
So all three of you have painted a very positive picture there of the introduction of AI and Gen AI into the workplace. Are there any impacts to motivation, to, you touched on it a little bit, Matt, around job role change. Is there anything that you'd like to add on that?
Yeah, I could do. I think if you imagine the AI as a person, so if you treat them as a fellow developer or a fellow engineer, I think you'll have a much better experience if you're not having a good time with it right now, right? Treat it as if it's like Matthias level enthusiasm, yeah? But like maybe a junior to intermediate and skill set. And treat them like you treat that type of engineer, and I think you'll have a much better experience. The other thing that I think, as far as like changing the way that you have to think about or work with it, and I think it was actually in the DE&I track, the women's one, where they were talking about, you have like inherent biases in you. Now, those inherent biases, that talk was specific around, culture and how you may not be able to relate to people. But actually those inherent biases are in how you engineer your own systems. And so your AI won't have those same biases. So actually use it as a hopefully neutral, unbiased, depending on the model, but hopefully a neutral one, or at least a sounding board to test out and find and discover your own biases so that you can upskill yourself as an engineer. So treat it almost like a consultant, which again, if you got Matthias level enthusiasm, that's gonna be a load of fun. So I encourage you to not just think of it as like a taskmaster where you give it a task and then it goes and does something for you. Instead, consult with it, almost talk to it and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, what do you think? And ask it to actually, some of the best experiences I've had with it is where I've said, right, I'm trying to do this. If I've missed any context that you need, please ask me the questions and ask me them one by one. And you'll be amazed the difference at the result.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of negative impact, I would say I see a trend with junior engineers having a much tougher experience actually adapting, because when you have to have that conversation back and forth, you need to know what good looks like. And I see that being a challenge because as a junior engineer, you don't necessarily know what good looks like and what to compare it. So yeah, I would like to see like how as an industry we develop those standards or well architected, maybe it's how we're gonna manage this. But I am a little bit concerned with the new engineers coming through. I'm hearing in universities, for example, now they don't even need to learn SQL because, well, you can just ask Gen AI to write the SQL for you, but usually it's not optimized, and you need to know the type of prompts to give to all these agents. So yeah, learning how to prompt, knowing best practices, it's where I'm saying like we need to do a lot more, and right now there will be probably a dip in quality of the code, of the type of SQL queries we're writing, and how much it's going to cost.
Got it.
Yeah. Before I answer this question, can I request to please raise hand if you are an engineer or an architect in the room? Half of you? Okay. How many managers in the room? Less of it. Okay. Last question, I promise. Engineers and architects specifically, do you feel any cognitive load? Very few hands, very few hands. Okay. Personally speaking, I also started my journey as developer, definitely. I have not seen developers and engineers taking any cognitive load, by the way. The whole world around them is taking cognitive load. Yes, the pace of change with AI has become deafening, thanks to all the social media and tooling and everything which is coming around. On terms of the stress, I think it's definitely bringing a little bit of more. And to give you a context, sometimes I also feel that yes, if you're playing snakes and ladder, the moment you feel that you have reached to 88 and you're about to go to 100, then you suddenly feel that, oh, you have come down to 21. I think it's snakes and ladder is a game which all of us have played some point in time. So yes, the pace of change is very high. The thing which I would request our organizations to really working on is putting it in context. What is important for a program manager, engineering manager, to be worried about and how to upscale? What is that engineers need to be really looking into? So that can help balance this psychological need, which is definitely there, but every role needs it. I mean, the stress needs to be balanced out, not just that we keep saying cognitive load on developers.
I was struggling with cognitive load, to be fair. So this is a 2-minute call for you people to start thinking about questions, because my glamorous assistant over there is going to start prompting you in a moment. But I have one final question here for the panelists, which is around, and it was a nice segue for you in terms of the rapid pace of change you're talking about in AI and Gen AI. What's going to happen in the next 12 to 24 months? I mean, with regard to Gen AI and Gen AI.
Yeah, sure. So when I stared into my crystal ball before I came on stage, I do think there's some fundamental things that are happening. So you saw Matthias came up here and started to talk about Agent Core, but towards the bottom he got to the protocols. And if you look at the industry, it's moved so fast that the protocols weren't even in place. Now we're seeing things like MCP, A2A, AP2, which is like an extension of A2A for payments, which I think is really key to almost everyone that sells a product. That's released. Google announced that a few days ago. And that's the thing. It's like, if you're not keeping up on these things, they're coming. So it's take a look at those. I think the protocols are going to standardize in the next 12 to 24 months. I think we're going to start to see more widespread industry adoption of those protocols, which will then make your guys' lives a lot easier. As far as that goes, I also think we're probably going to see a shift in the multimodal aspect taking part. So right now it's a lot of tickety type, right? Everybody's on their chat windows and stuff. When really, as humans, I mean, keyboards didn't come out until, don't quote me on this, but sometime after the 1900s, right? Like 1920s or whatever, when typewriters came out. So that's not like a natural human form of communicating. That's something that we've created, right? We've manifested that. Whereas we've been using our voice since like cavemen, right? So I think as the multimodal language, the natural language, the speaking bit in particular, the audio, I think as that gets more human-like and it's imperceivable to us, whether it's a bot or a human, I think that is going to make it accessible to people that aren't technologists, that maybe are the older generation, which is where we see a lot of the population of the world right now. Like if you go look at the stats, there's a lot more old people than there are young people. And I think it'll make it accessible to that generation. And I think that'll happen quite quickly in the next 1 to 2 years.
Great. Over to you.
Thanks. To be honest, I don't think we can really predict 12 to 24 months because the speed of change is something that we haven't seen before. So realistically, I think what we might predict that we'll see in 12 months, it might happen in 3 months. So I think it's quite hard at the moment for anyone to be realistic about what we're going to see in 12 months. At the same time, like some of the things that I'm seeing lots of different vendors spending time on is the analytics part and making it more accessible for everyone to interpret the data, like graphs and things like that. I see them just trying to do the prompting instead of having someone reading and doing the analysis for you and then share it. So I think we'll see a lot of that coming up. I don't think it's 12 months. Again, I think it's 3 months probably. And yeah, I agree with you in terms of like right now it's all through writing. I already moved, to be honest. I'm not typing to any of like the agents. I'm just talking to it because it's actually much faster, and it's all about speed with this. So yeah, I definitely see different ways of interacting with it that will come.
Okay. So it's going to happen quicker, and we're going to talk to it more.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, very difficult to put 12, 24 months, given that we have so much of innovation happening in the industry. But I'll try to keep it bucketized from AWS, because AWS folks are sitting here. I would like them to be thinking about the connecting these, because over the period of time, AWS has become a full bouquet of services. But when people use it, for them, each individual services is a lot more configuration, a lot more patching up between all the bits and pieces. So I would say that yes, SageMaker, Novo, Kiro, Bedrock, and especially the models which you should definitely be caring about, which will get mature and simplified, and SLMs will be more popular, hopefully. Claude, your llamas and your queen from Alibaba, let's not underestimate them. So these models, so AWS, to simplify a bit, create those workflows where it makes things simpler, +1 to agentic workflows, like you said. Currently, our ecosystem is not fully ready with that. So we have MCP servers, we have a couple of gateways, couple of A2A, agents, tooling, everything to be patched, and there are a couple of layers to it. I think in next 12 to 24 months, I would like to see, or I'm kind of predicting that what should happen, that it'll move beyond demo track. Agents are currently at the demo level. It'll move beyond that. And we will have simplified protocols, standardized into, rather than 4, 5 layers, it will simplify into 1 or 2 layers max. And so is the adopters. So that's about AWS side of things. What 12 to 24 months more? There is lot more innovation. I don't know what to point to and what not to. Yeah, of course, one thing, I don't know how many of you know, because I was traveling yesterday from the airport. Last week, airport was stalled, those who know about it, because of ransomware. And airlines kept on saying that it is IT disruption, but it was massive delays in flights, etc. So sovereignty, European sovereignty, plus AI, plus these guardrails, more secured and standard ways of doing, will definitely catch up if we have to make it more accessible and available for enterprise usage. So maturity is what I'm expecting, 12 to 24 months. Yeah.
Thank you. I would like to add one as well, and it goes to your point, Angela, around the rate of change and the speed of change. I think that specifically, I'm going to talk about agentic here, but it's going to change business models, and it's going to impact and disrupt commercial businesses today. Yep. And the example I give is, if you look at Gemini search, it's demonstrating significant reductions in website traffic to large organizations, because the agents go off to scrape the page, they pull back the data, and they present it in the text format, or whichever format it's given. But it forgets, for example, the advertisements that are impressed upon on that particular website, doesn't publish those to the user, and so somewhere along the way there's a failure in click-through revenue, there's a failure in the impression revenues as well, and how that actually drives value to both the advertiser and to the host. So an example there. Hopefully that was useful. Okay, how long have we got, Phil? Do we have any willing victims? I mean, volunteers. Oh my God, no, we don't.
Switch the box on. Oh, here we go, look. I'm talking into a box.
Anyone
right.
got a question for the panel? Here we go. There's one over there, Phil.
Great. Because it's a box that I'm supposed to throw, I'm going to throw it to you. I reckon we've got time for 2. You ready to catch?
I'm not sure there was a health and safety briefing there. If you would like to say your name and if you're brave enough where you're from, which organisation, that'd be amazing.
James from Pemberley. So I've tried quite a lot of the MCP servers that have come out, and one of the biggest problems I've found is when you ask it a question and it's not in the docs, and it will just guess. Have you got any suggestions on how you might deal with that?
Okay. We heard that. We got that. Yeah. Would anyone like to have a go?
This is a common challenge. Last time when I also used it, same thing. I was wondering that hallucinations and this repeatability, reliability is a very important thing. No clear answers to that, but then how are we solving it is closing the gaps at our end. There is no out-of-the-box solution, so handling it through various configurations, putting our own adapters to it, that's the solution I've seen. I don't have really a foolproof solution for you, if you have any.
No, I'm just going to add on. So I think on the system side that MCP could have those guardrails and things. I think on the user side, maybe introduce a constraint into your system prompt. So the prompt that you're giving it, if you see that it's kind of going off on one, tell it, don't only reference this bit specifically, and put that in your prompt. So just be more explicit in your prompting to kind of give it that narrower focus, and then it might not hallucinate so much. Just something to try.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, do we have anyone else? There's a question here in the middle. 2 questions. We can squeeze 2 in. Have a throw. Go on. How's your cricket arm?
Oh, wow.
Oh, good.
Woo!
Solid. Solid.
I'll take that. Hi, I'm Josh from the University of Warwick. You brought up an interesting point about changing content creation's business model. How do you think AI can sort of mitigate against the sort of dead internet theory? That is to say, AI generates content from what it's been trained on. How do you stop AI from generating content that was basically training AI on AI content and creating a kind of infinite loop of slop? What do you think we should do to still incentivize human content creation in a world of generative AI instant content?
I mean, it's a great question. And it was aimed at me, right?
Well, it's aimed at all of you, really.
Okay.
I mean, you all use chatbots. I know Booking.com has a chatbot for trip planning. I mean, how would you still incentivize the role of travel agents, for example?
Yeah. I am a big believer that when you see, let's say LinkedIn posts, if you see 10 posts, you clearly know that which is written by a human and which is written by 9 others are written by the agent. So content creation, though, yes, it's going to be easier, but ultimately the creativity is going to flourish where you use your mind with the tools, augment your mind with the tools. So I don't see any reason that content creation will stop. Yes, plagiarism and all those things and being more human things, guardrails is not in the place. That's where we say that ecosystem. On the agent side, yes, same thing applies. As of now, we are doing our own layers on top of it to make sure that agents are not emitting anything which is not supposed to be. They are also trained different ways. We have our great setups. We have a great team who's doing around it, but no out-of-the-box solution here. Whatever is done by us is our data scientists, ML scientists, architects working together and making these as much as possible contained data. That's the best answer I can give you now.
Anyone else?
Yeah. I mean, I can add. I've seen actually this debate online with people discussing that content creators will disappear because everything will be generated by agents. And realistically, what I believe and what a lot of people were saying there, that like right now, we might see a period of time where content will be generated by agents and by Gen AI because there is a lot of unique content. But once we're going from this situation, unique content will be even more valuable. And that's probably going to happen in a few months or a year, I would say, where people will, I already see it actually on LinkedIn, to be honest. When I skim through LinkedIn, I try to find the unique perspectives that I know they haven't been generated by an agent. So I think the human content will actually become more valuable, and not just for us consuming, but also for companies, so that those content improve.
You've got 30 seconds.
Okay, I'll try and be really quick on the echo chamber, because I think that's what you were describing there, is AI becomes its own echo chamber. All right, so think of the difference between Netflix and Apple TV. All right, Netflix cranks out loads of content. Sometimes it gets all real samey, right? And you find yourself just scrolling through, and you get bored as a consumer. Apple TV, they have way less content, but it's curated. And they're both pretty successful. So I think there'll be room for both, I guess. So do I think that there will be a bit of an echo chamber? Yeah. And will there be people that will want to participate in that? Yeah. But there'll also be the other side of the fence that just want the curation. So I think it'll still live.
Okay, thank you very much. So would you put your hands together for our panelists, please? Thank you very much. And are you both, Phil and Joe, are you both coming up?
We can give 2 copies to our 2 people who are have asked, made us think more on our feet. Maybe you can give it to them.
Oh, no, come up and do your closing remarks and I'll disappear.
Yeah. Thank you. Right, brilliant. Let's give them all a round of applause once again.